Good morning, my friend. Not even really morning for you, but you're a trooper, so I appreciate you in the UK getting up at 2:45 a.m. to come and collaborate with me on this journey and conversation. We'll wait for a couple people to pop in here. And man, it's been a wild last 72 hours. Woo! Energetically, opportunities to release, energies coming up, just wow. Tidal wave, but the beauty is when you have the awareness to see it, you can just kind of sink into it, allow it, and just, no resistance.
Yeah.
Because when a big wave hits, usually there's been a lot of previous smaller ripples and waves that have already been the precursor or the invitation or the, I wouldn't say warning sign, but the, hey, it's time to go to the next level. And that's definitely been coming up for me. So just grateful for it. And I won't lie and say it's all been comfortable, but as we all know, this journey is, it's about allowing, accepting, releasing, and not resisting, and asking, what's the gift here? What is this? What is the invitation here? So just riding the wave, man. Got to get a bigger surfboard. So you feeling good?
Yeah. I'm good, Jeff. It's early in the morning. It reminds me of that kind of like feeling when you sort of get up at a time like this. There's a sort of bodily memory of it's like getting up to go on holiday when I was a little boy. Getting up in the middle of the night because you've got to go and get a flight and whatever. It always reminds me of that kind of like feeling, So it's strange, but yeah, I'm good. And I was at the Goddess conference just a week ago in Glastonbury. This amazing experience, and my brain hasn't been the same since.
That's what you were telling me yesterday.
Yeah, I just got into the energy there, and it was like since I've got back, it's just kind of a bit fuzzy and floaty, and my sort of male brain, my sort of rational logic order, just not happening the same. It's interesting. I've been changed to Glastonbury energy.
Wow, man, that's on my bucket list to get over there and do a week-long gathering with people and just tap into that. That's one of the places on my list out of about 6 right now. But we'll get into that in a minute after I introduce you. And then once we get a couple more people on, we'll set a group intention, because it's always really powerful that with all of the assistance that's coming in right now, we're definitely collecting audio good, videos. Okay. I think that's a message from Todd. We're definitely co-creating this, and anybody that's paying any attention with their awareness can feel what's going on right now. And there's massive stuff coming up for clearing. There's a lot of ugly stuff coming up to the surface that's being exposed, but it needs to happen. And so for the people that are already on here right now, the 9 viewers, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started very shortly. Today's topic is going to be the return of the divine masculine. And so this is not just about us males. This is really about all of us genderless people, beings of light, balancing these masculine and divine energies, because that's what we're being invited to do right now. And we're so passionate about this because, what usually happens is the women who are more heart-based usually are stepping up and saying, okay, men, it's time for you guys to step up and meet us. Well, the men sometimes are taking that as, whoa, hey, they don't always have the awareness to receive that as, okay, we're being supported by the women. And it is time to not be triggered, to be vulnerable, to let our guard and our masks down, and to really go deeper into some really heart-based conscious conversations here to bridge this gap. So we're going to be going into that. We're going to be going into your amazing experience that you had in Glastonbury. And then we can talk a little bit about watering these seeds for this upcoming group that we may be doing, a 6 or 8 week group. And I'd love to do one for men, kind of like I've been doing with the Powerful Man group for the last year and a half. But also, I'm being guided because I have so many powerful, feminine, divine women in my life that it'd also be good to do one with men and women where we can really have these deeper conversations and mirror each other and really start to move through and dismantle and clear some of this stuff in a very safe and powerful environment. So I'm really excited about that because it just keeps coming up, you know, and I follow those signs as we all do, I think. And so yeah, it's exciting. So we'll go ahead and get started. It's 8 minutes after the hour. We have 14 amazing people on here right now. Let me set something up real quick and we'll get started.
Can you hear me?
Pull up this show real quick. I like to see the comments, even though
Can you hear
can't
me?
really get distracted by them.
Jeff, can you?
Oh,
Miguel, can you hear me?
yeah.
Hey, I don't think you can hear me. Can both of y'all go out and come back in because the video's not working? It's never happened before, but let's try that.
Yeah, okay.
Both of y'all go out and come back in.
What do I need to do?
Do I just hit stop camera? That's my only option right now.
Yeah, or
Stop
just
camera.
close the window out, or just close the window out and then go back
Okay.
into the messenger and start over with the link.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So we're going to see if this works. Hopefully it'll work. I don't know what's going on here, but we're fixing to find out. Let me see. Okay, it seems like it's working now. So let me let them get back on here. How's it going, everybody? I think we got the visual part worked out before the show gets started. We appreciate everybody's love and support, patience, contributions to keep us going. We're very fortunate, very blessed, very grateful. Okay, here's Miguel. All right, I think we're good now. Here comes Jeff. Let me just make sure you guys can hear each other.
Mm-hmm.
Very great. Okay, can y'all hear each other?
I can, yes.
All right, I think we're good now.
Yeah, I can. Jeff.
Yeah.
Man, that was a trip when you were talking.
You guys can hear each other. Okay, it's working now. Y'all have a good show. Can y'all hear each other?
Yes, I can. Yes.
All right, I think we're good now.
Yeah, I can. Jeff.
Yeah.
Man, that was a trip. Okay, great. Okay, we'll get started here. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jeff.
Okay, great. I was looking at the replay. It was a trip when we had those little issues and Todd was speaking and his video was just all digitized, like just energy in the ethers. Very cool. I saw him and Morgan. Morgan had a picture. Todd and her were having a little private video conference and her face was all pixelated too, but his was fine. It was very interesting. And she posted that. Very cool. So, okay, great. So we have 14 viewers here. Let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, great. Thanks, Emily. Thanks, Todd. Excellent. Okay, welcome everybody to Waking Up in the Dream. The shift is on. So my guest today is my good friend, Miguel Dean, author, speaker, mentor, teacher, all around powerful man, and just tuned in, cool guy. And as I was saying earlier, Miguel and I met auspiciously when we were traveling in Thailand in a juice bar. And then we got to hang out for a couple of days and just connect and surf the energies. And he's back now for his second or third time here. We've kept in touch and We're looking at putting together a 6 or 8 week online group, possibly, to really go deeper into some of this work. And today's topic is going to be on the return of the divine masculine. So as I was saying before, we had to go out and come back in to the room. And I know this crowd knows this because they're very aware and tuned in, but this is not just a show for men. This is equally just as important for women to balance equally the masculine and divine energies within. As we are all genderless beings, we may have these different bodies of male and female right now on this journey, but on a quantum level, that really doesn't play out as far as the energies that we're going to be talking about. I mean, they do and they don't. You understand. So we're going to be getting into that. So I'd like to read one little thing here really quickly. Actually, let's do a quick meditation for everybody that's on here so we can amplify the quantum field. I feel that's always really super powerful. So for everybody that's on the show in this now moment, let's just close our eyes, kind of unplug from anything else that's going on, drop into our heart, take a few slow, deep breaths, slow everything down, become fully present. Drop into our heart. And if you want, drop a smile on top of that right now, because it immediately raises your vibration. Every single cell of your body, which is your innate intelligence, is listening to and feeling these messages of love and gratitude that we're sending to our bodies, to the planet, and beyond. So let's really tune in and celebrate the miracle of what is happening at all times to assist us on our journey energetically and beyond. All of the guides and energies that are coming in, even when we're not aware of it. So as we continue to breathe, let's envision dropping down into our hearts and envisioning our hearts opening wider and wider. And whatever color light that resonates with you, golden light, purple violet flame, or a huge massive rainbow, send that out to every cell of your body with gratitude. Keep smiling. Get excited like a little child. And now we'll amplify that out into our neighborhoods, into our cities, towns, states, countries, beyond. Radiating this light and love into Mother Earth. All the animals, divas, deities that support us and are here just to love us and make this journey so magical. I love it. So may this transmission reach all those that may benefit, and all those that may be feeling lost or confused during this powerful awakening of the collective. May we also send out the brightest light, love, and compassion to those that we label as dark ones, as they're perfectly playing their role too in the awakening, the great awakening. And we see them wrapped in the most loving, pure, brilliant light as we welcome them to return back to their natural loving state. And as we set these powerful intentions individually and collectively right now, and on all of the replays that will go out to reach so many people, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are creating this, and we are together affecting the quantum field in the name of the one, unity, soul, love. And so it is. I love doing that. Thank you, everybody, for participating, showing up, supporting with your amazing love, powerful intentions. Hey, everybody. Hi, Lori, Emily, Morgan. Wow, Karen, Mary, Dave. We have all these amazing people in the house. So again, today, we're going to go deep into the return of the divine masculine. And before I turn it over to my amazing friend here, Miguel Dean, I'd like to read a little something. Before I do every show, I take some time to really tap in and download, research, anything that I can that I feel kind of sets the tone and clarifies just some wisdom of what comes into my field. So this is what I have for the beginning of this show. In the midst of collective awakening, many of us energetically sensitives or empaths experience the reignition of our deepest inner conflicts and original wounds. The purpose behind this phenomenon is so that our fragmented aspects can heal and contribute to the shifting of the collective awareness. One of the big collective subjects is the reconnection with healed and integrated masculine energies. However, in order to address our deeper energetic dissonances, the divine masculine spirit within cannot be seen without the context of the divine feminine spirit. Therefore, when connecting and working with masculine energies, it often leads to the illumination of our inner relationship between both our primordial sources of energy, or primal sources of energy, both divine masculine and divine feminine. So this is the invitation for both men and women to come together on this. So from an energetic point of view, healing the inner and outer relationships with masculine energies is equally important for both genders, but is often surrounded by much confusion, especially for us spiritually awakened men. While it seems politically correct on connecting with the divine feminine, which is undoubtedly needed for inner and outer balance in the world, a distorted or unhealed interconnection with divine masculine energies cannot integrate divine feminine energies in the way needed for our global awakening process. Therefore, in order to fully unify and reinstate the inner balance of both archetypal energies, it is important for men and women likewise to investigate their deeper connection with the divine masculine and inherited relationship with the father principle. So it's time for all of us to learn a bit more about the violated masculine spirit. And as I read that last sentence, I want to make it really clear that I'm not stating that it's just the violated masculine spirit and men have taken more of a beating or a patriarchal programming than women have. It's been equal on both sides. And I know that because I am a lover and protector, as I know my brother Miguel is here, of the divine feminine goddess. So we're here just as men to show up authentically, vulnerably, and just open this up and shed some light on this. And please, everybody that's out there, you're welcome to add your comments, questions or anything, and we'll do our best to keep everybody in the loop here, because it's not just about Miguel and I. We just have this opportunity right now to kind of step forward and open it up. So with that said, welcome to my amazing friend, Miguel Dean, back to the show. I want to give him a lot of love for getting up at 2:45 in the morning in the UK for the second or third time to come on and join me. And moving forward, as I said, we're looking at putting together a 6 or 8 week group for men and probably women as well, or we might do 2 separate ones to where we can really go deep into this. So what we're going to share today and what Miguel's going to share, we've discussed in depth, and there's some really amazing stuff here. This beautiful man has so much to bring to the table, and we're both experiencing massive tests awakenings, synchronicities, and just growth. And we're just hanging on and letting go at the same time. So Miguel he's an author, speaker, teacher. He works with men and women. He's doing a lot of work with the youth in the UK, and he's just an amazing guy. So it's my pleasure to have you back on. Welcome and much love, brother.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's really good to be here. It is early in the morning, but that's okay. You know, if all we had to do in service was just, you know, set the alarm clock and get up early, you know, that would be really sweet, you know. So yeah. It's good to be here. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what unfolds and seeing what stuff comes out of my mouth this morning.
Yeah, and I love it because, you know, part of me for every show, you know, like I researched a little bit and I wanted to read that to I thought it was a good preface. It was explained pretty well, I thought. And, you know, I always kind of get butterflies about, you know, I got these amazing friends in my life that are bringing so much forward. And I just want to really, really bring forward the best show and the best information and the best presence and groundedness that I can for everything. So there's always like butterflies for me, like I'm getting ready to go on stage and play a big concert or something. And then, you know, really to be a vulnerable man in this position, part of that is the old programming of, well, part of it's excitement. So the little child, and the other part of it is the programming of, am I going to show up and be good enough? Because that's really what it is when I tune in to what those energies are. And the amazing thing about adrenaline and fear is the adrenaline is the same chemical compound that's running through our body. It just depends on what story we attach to it. Whether I attach the story of fear to it or excitement. So I catch that and I go, I'm just excited, dude. This happens every time. Maybe someday it won't be like that, but to me, that's the fuel that we get to allow and just really drop into it and feel it and just go, look, I'm just going to be a little kid, and no matter what I say or what happens, it's coming from my heart. So there's no way that I can do anything wrong. So just part of male and female programming again. So since this is very loose, because that's the best way for the downloads to come in, I'll just start off with a little bit about what we've talked about in the last few days, which is, I guess, since you recently returned from the Divine Goddess Festival in Glastonbury, why don't you just start off with that, or start off with a little bit of your background, wherever you want to go, brother. And I'll just open up the floor to you because I know it'll all be perfect.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Yes. The Goddess Conference in Glastonbury, let's start there because that's pretty current. And as I think I mentioned, since I got there, it's like my masculine brain got kind of turned off, or sort of like really shut down. So I'm all a bit kind of like floaty and swirly and kind of not terribly clear in my head. So I'm just gonna, which is a great vulnerable way to find yourself on a show. But yeah, I'm just going to let it go and let's just see what arises and see what feels like it needs to be shared and expressed. So
I'm just going to cut in really quick here for a second.
Yeah.
Men, women, this is where it is right here. We come together. We don't have to have it figured out. We align with people that see us and support us, and we just open it up to a conscious conversation. We don't have to figure it out, because it's going to come out naturally and in a flow when we just stay in our heart. There's no way that we can do anything wrong if we're in our heart. So I totally relate with everything you're saying and everything I shared about the butterflies and am I going to be good enough? And, you know, and let's just bring it, man.
Okay.
Have some fun. We've got the most amazing people in this group and beyond. I mean, it's blowing up. Everybody can feel it. The Great Awakening is on. So yeah, have some fun with it.
Yeah, well, we may as well, haven't we? We may as well. It's happening, so you may as well go with it. Yeah, I mean, the way I've been describing what's happened really since the Goddess conferences, I kind of feel like I've arrived at this place where there is no map. It's like you got to the edge of the map, you know, there's this map and it's all sort of all these intricate paths and contours and details and all the rest of it. And then it's like, oh, it's blank. There's nothing there. You know, it's like all the details stopped, and it just feels like I've kind of come to this place where it's like walking a path, creating the path with each footstep, you know, that there is nothing to follow. There is no roadmap to follow. And it's just like really having to settle in and trust, and all the old information and knowledge and kind of, it just seems redundant, really. It's like, oh, it doesn't apply here, you know? So what happened at the Goddess conference? Well, it kind of feels like a sort of culmination, really, of paths that just led me there, you know, at this time. It's the first time I've been there. I was invited to go along and speak about initiating the young men rites of passage, and how our lack of rites of passage is causing a lot of chaos. Particularly, you know, I think a lot of our youth are struggling, but I work more with young men than young women. So I was invited to come along and speak about that. So, you know, it was almost like that was the guise, that was the hook. That was like, oh, you're just going along to speak about this. And it's like, oh my, wow. When I got there, it was like, okay, that was just what sort of got me there. And you know, all this other stuff's just came at me, and it just blew me away, really. I was blown away by the energy of the divine feminine, blown away by Glastonbury, blown away by so many weird and beautiful and bizarre experiences, encounters. And I guess, yeah, you know, I'm just going to share this because, and it feels really weird because I still haven't really quite got the words. So excuse me if it sounds a bit clumsy, but what I realized while I was there is that this energy is coming through me that enables me to awaken Kundalini in woman. And you know, there's a bit of me all the time when I'm kind of thinking about this stuff, saying it's like, oh, Miguel, you're on some trip light, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, just, you know, chill out. But it's irrefutable. It's like, yeah, the stuff that was happening and so on was like, okay, this is a gift that is, you know, that I've been kind of pretty sure seems to be something going on around that sort of stuff. But at the Goddess conference, everything just got sharpened and heightened, and yeah, so it's like, wow. So it's like time to step up, Miguel. You know, it's very obvious and very clear that your place in the awakening, your part in, you know, the balancing of the masculine and feminine is significant, is real. It's like no good just pretending, oh, you know, is this what my life's about? Like, you know, it seems to be pointing in this direction. It's like, okay, there's no shadow of a doubt anymore. It's like, you know, right, just get on with it, you know, and get focused. So that in broad terms is kind of what happened at Glastonbury, and it seems to be that it's something around, well, enabling or creating the space, enabling woman and enabling the divine feminine to feel safe in the presence of the divine masculine. And it seems like, you know, on a micro level, that's what is needed so much in our inner world, you know, with our own weave of masculine and feminine, in our intimate relationships between a man and a woman. And then on the bigger cosmic level, you know, the bigger planetary level of the balance of the masculine and the feminine, and that the earth needs to feel, yeah, safe, protected, if you like, held, that like the masculine has got its back, you know, so that the earth can heal and the land can do its stuff and everything can come back into alignment again. There seems to be, this is all so new, Jeff, you know, and it's, again, it's just perfect timing that you asked me to come onto the show, you know, just at this point in my life where all these kind of roads converge, and I don't really know what's happening, but something big's happening and something very beautiful is happening. And yeah, it feels like I'm being undone in a really sweet way.
Beautiful share. Yeah, same thing's happening for me. It's like we set our intention to really heal this, and the women and the people just start showing up that are on that level. And before I forget, I'd just like to put it out there right now, because we already discussed this, because this has been in my field for months now. I've been waiting for the right time to bring some women into this conversation. So for those of you that are out there that I just know of, I mean, I have many incredible female friends, powerful friends around the world that are doing the work. But for the people that I know that are possibly on this show, Morgan Lee, Jennifer Hawley, Lori Ridgway, Sarah Richardson, Michelle Phillips, and I don't want to leave anybody out because there's, oh my God, there's so many. I'd love to get us on one of these calls with at least a couple women, so we can really open this conversation up and really just frickin' go deep with it and get both sides of the, get both sides of the reflections of how we can meet each other on a deeper level. Obviously, safely, consciously. No pointing a finger. That stuff's done, man. When I see the women dogging the men, we're done. Let's get done with that. Because anybody that we're dogging and saying they haven't stepped up yet, it's just a projection, and it's just more shame. It's not clean energy. So let's do everything moving forward as a soft and beautiful invitation. And those that want to come forward and are ready to do this will be like, hell yeah, finally, let's do it. Because I see it out there. Women are like, oh my God, you're working with the powerful man, or that, yeah, we need more of that. We need more of that. We need more of that. And yes, we do, and it's coming. There are a lot of incredible men out there and a lot of incredible women. We're popping like popcorn, you know, as we play in this energy field and we accept 100% responsibility, and we realize that it's an inner game. Anybody that I send messages to now, every time I spell the word information, it's capital I, capital N, because this whole journey is inward. The outward journey is great to play in, and it's a wonderful holographic mirror. But we were taught, and I'll just speak for men now because the title is the Divine Masculine, 180 degrees the opposite of how to operate and navigate through this journey in a heart-based way. And as a result, you know, well, I'm just going to read this. This is a thing that I put together myself. We're invited more than ever to get in touch with our deepest inner feelings and aspects of separation. We've been taught to believe that the enemy is outside. That was really huge, man. We're now invited to express our true inner feelings and express them by balancing our divine masculine and feminine energies. This means for the men being willing to drop the masks and be vulnerable. We must also be willing to drop our guard, our insecurities, and the need to be strong. You know, that strength thing, that protection thing is blocking all of the feminine heart-based energies from really coming to fruition. You know, being in competition, being an alpha male. You know, I see this all the time in the men's groups. I work with men they're very successful. They could be millionaires, but they've sacrificed everything in the hustle and the push and the trying to be enough to prove everything from the love they didn't get when they were a child to being good enough to, you know, they just haven't, we've been taught what to think. In most cases, we have not been taught how to think or how to go in and process these emotions. And we got so wounded over the years or centuries that we built this cocoon of protection around us. And the same thing with the women. You know, the patriarchal programming has just been so deep and so horrendous and so disrespectful and, you know, abusive. And so this is what we're here to unlock right now. And I'm just so honored to feel like this is a big passion for me. It always has been, but it's taken years of, you know, studying with my mentors and my teachers to undo my stuff that happened when my dad died when I was a kid, and growing up with 3 women and just feeling totally alienated and not having any kind of a roadmap of how to navigate through that whatsoever. And it wasn't until I met, Don Miguel Ruiz and started questioning every belief and really writing out my life story and starting to see that, I really had some choices, but I had to walk through a lot of fear. I've had to walk through a lot of shame. I've had to walk through a lot of self-judgment and guilt. A lot of it self-projected, but all these behaviors were learned and handed down. So, the invitation to do this right now, moving forward, is just, it just seems like everything, and what an amazing time to get together with tuned in and tapped in women that get this, and they're like, yes, come forward, let's frickin' do this. It like puts tears in my eyes. It's like when I said that, when I felt that, my whole body just went like it was gonna cry, because I love the divine feminine. It's the magical attraction. It's the yin to my yang, or vice versa. And there's a deep longing that I just felt in my heart when I said that. And I didn't even know that was going to happen. But it was like, yeah, what a feeling to have a safe and wonderfully powerful experience just based on the meeting of being authentic, real, vulnerable, not trying to take, dominate, or get anything from anybody, not needing to conquer a woman, or just knowing that they bring so much to the table.
Yeah. The paradox is that it's actually about giving, isn't it? It's in the giving, in the service to the divine feminine, that the divine masculine receives so much. It is just so simple, just so simple. Yeah.
And the invitation is to let down our guard. Look at where we're wearing the masks of wanting to be enough as a powerful man, wearing the masks of feeling safe with somebody to say, I feel like crying, or this keeps coming up for me. I'm in a lot of pain. Can we have a conversation around this? I can trust in you to hold space for me, and we can move through this rapidly and grow together and frickin' just raise our level of vibration and co-connectiveness, and just affect the quantum field in every single relationship that we're involved in. It's just an energetic opening of such purity that, man, I'm just so getting ready to celebrate this, healing of this separation. And just feel really honored, thank you again, Todd, and everybody, to be able to just come in and open this up. So tell me a little bit more about Glastonbury, or anything that's just percolating for you, because I know the energies are popping all of us and polishing us right now. So
yeah. What can I share? Well, yeah, I suppose in a way, like Glastonbury seems to be that's where I am now. That's just where I've been very recently. But there's this sense of the whole journey and a whole life journey that's kind of like led me there. And I guess in a way, the big significant factor, it's like Glastonbury was just the confirmation, a load of stuff, the Goddess Conference. But before, it began, I guess, in a way, when I was 7 months old, my mom left her body. She died of cancer. And for a number of years now, I've had this sense that she needed to leave in order to prime me for my earth mission, if you like. And that was, that I had this flavor, this taste of mother love, of the divine feminine energy. And then at 7 months old, it was gone, bang, all of a sudden, it wasn't there anymore. And it was like that kind of primed me to go in search of that, to try and reconnect with that for the rest of my life, really. And as I say, that's just really come to a culmination now. But what it set me on this journey of was, in search of the feminine, externally through woman. There was this big sense for a long time of me that there was this big void, this big hole, this big chunk of me that was missing, that I needed a woman to complete me. And because there was so much little boy and mother stuff, mixed up in all that energy and that longing and that desire and that neediness and so on, invariably the relationships were challenging and came to an end, because there was too much little boy and not enough man. And I guess it's only in the last couple of years where I had the pleasure, the privilege of meeting a really amazing, beautiful woman who just destroyed me, really, destroyed who I thought I was, and I just fell in love with her so deeply that I said to myself, I'm not running from this pain that is inside me. This wound that I have carried for, nearly 50 years, it stops here. It's done. Because I'd always avoided it to a certain extent with busyness, with getting stoned, with some sort of distraction, and I'd always kind of like just kind of put my toe in the fire, but then pull back. And this time I said, no, enough. This wound has caused too much chaos, and I'm not spending the rest of my life in this dance, in this game. So I committed. I committed to love. I committed to the divine feminine. I committed to facing my demons. And really, as you just touched on, Jeff, that was about feeling what I needed to feel. It's so simple, really. It was just about really feeling the pain. And this beautiful woman kept leaving me. So she just created exactly, it was just so beautifully orchestrated, the perfect conditions to trigger the little boy wound trauma that was still resided in my body from when I was 7 months old. And she triggered this, and I said, okay, I face this. She left, and I sat in it, and I had this kind of like 8-day, I don't like to call it dark night of the soul, because I don't believe there is a dark night of the soul. I believe there is a dark night of the ego. So I had this 8-day kind of trauma where I just kind of reverted back to being a little boy. I couldn't eat anything solid. I had to eat little kind of like squishy stuff, baby food. I couldn't sleep. I was sick. I was nauseous. I just regressed. But I chose to stay there. It's like, no, I stay there. I don't distract. I don't, I just stayed there for 8 days. And it really feels like in those 8 days, it was just burnt away. All that pain, all that stuff I needed to feel that had been trapped inside me. And there was this massive weight that was lifted from me. And it's not like it's, all totally done. There were still bits of that kind of little boy stuff would still creep in. But the man, the authentic man, was for the first time totally on his throne, if you like. I'd begun to return to my king energy. You know what I mean? That just wasn't there, and I knew it wasn't there before. There was always this kind of bit of shame and guilt that I hadn't stood and faced that demon inside me, that inner adversary, that dragon, that shadow. And this time I knew I had stood there and I had allowed the fire to do what it needed to do. And I came out of that just feeling a couple of inches taller, and okay, now I'm here. Now I'm here. So that's that, and then that led me to Glastonbury. And shortly after all that sorted, all those beautiful gifts of pain that woman gifted to me, we went our separate ways in a very beautiful, amicable way, and life said, right, let's chuck you into the Goddess Conference, into that energy. You're now ready. You're now ready to step up your service and step up your contribution. So, yeah, just feeling really kind of humbled and just in awe of what's going on, really. Yeah, what is going on? Hey.
Me too. I'm right there with you, brother. It's such a mirror. And you shared so many things so beautifully right now. You talked about, you know, the divine masculine finally sitting on his throne. And the name that I came up with for the upcoming men's group was Reclaiming Your Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not about anybody sitting on a throne above anybody else, but this is for men that want to heal this stuff and be done. Well, I don't mean done. It's always going to be an ongoing journey, but really heal this stuff and serve from a place of true service and equality to the divine feminine. And I see this happen every 6 weeks in the Powerful Man group. I see guys that come in there, they're bawling their eyes out. They're lost, they're confused, they have all the wounds and more that we've been talking about. I mean, everything from they grew up with their father and they had all kinds of money, but their father never told them he loved them. They didn't even know that was sitting underneath the surface. But it was affecting every relationship, everything they were striving for, everything they were trying to be good enough. And it's unbelievable to watch that when you begin to do this and start to work with people every week or every day or whatever, there's not hundreds or thousands of different wounds. There's really only about 3 or 4 or 5 of the same thing that everybody has. And what I notice is with these men and with myself, when we become adults, we start to rationalize what happened. Like in my case, my father died in a plane crash when I was 7. Okay, I couldn't even process that when my uncle took me out in the front yard and told me, I don't know what he told me, your dad's never coming home, something like that. I immediately locked down. There was no way to even begin to process that. So as I said earlier in the show, I grew up with 3 women. My sisters and my mom are amazing. They didn't know how to support and raise a child that had no idea what just happened, but just lost his anchor, didn't know where to find it, you know? And so I see this with every single man that I go on this journey with. And man, 45 short days or even less, these guys go into this stuff. We guide it. We do it in a safe environment. There's a private Facebook group where people can share. There's weekly calls that are safe. And we do this mirroring. And we walk through this stuff with the tools. You know, the tools from the book, Waking Up in the Dream, the other tools of, you know, rage release exercises, going and speaking to your father, asking him if he loved you. And you should see the fear that comes over men when I ask them, those that father is still alive, to go back and have that conversation. It's like everything is sitting right there. All the energy's like a massive fireball. And it's like they've been wanting that so bad to receive that connection that to go back and ask for it is very scary for some reason. It's very scary, but once they decide to do it and pierce that veil, whatever, everything opens up and they receive in 99% of 100 cases that connection from their father. And it was there all along, but the father didn't know how to express it because he didn't learn it from his father. And there's this generational thing that we're now finally being invited to come in and heal this. And so I invite anybody out there, any men that are watching, any women that know men that could really benefit from this. We're here, you know, and there is a system of holding space and walking through this journey that will open things up and create a level of freedom, safety, and empowerment from a place of the heart that we've all been seeking. We've all been seeking. So whether, you know, people come and go on this journey with us, just the time is now to do this. It's so clear that the invitation is here, and everything is here to support this. And it's just such an honor to be able to walk with people like yourself and the Todd Medinas of the world, and everybody else that's involved in this group and beyond, and all our collective friends that are going, okay, I'm ready to show up. I've still got uncomfortable stuff in my body. I mean, I don't know if that'll ever go away, because people that know me say one of my favorite sayings is conscious awareness is the only game in town. Well, as far as I know, the levels of conscious awakening are infinite. So it seems like there's always going to be another level of opening and expanding, because that's the way the universe works. Mm-hmm. One of the keys is to know that and accept it, and begin to lighten it. And by that I mean to begin to get playful again. As we've taken on all these patriarchal programs, judgment, shame, and guilt, everything became very serious. And a little child that comes into this world with an unlimited imagination and playfulness doesn't have this program. So I found after 50 years, it's not about becoming more, it's about letting go of everything that we've taken on from external information, sources, peer pressure, bullying, shame, not feeling good enough, and just really grounding in, like you say. We got to sit down for 8 days. I'll tell you what, I'd give up 8 days. I'd give up 800 days of just sitting with myself to clear the pain that I have carried and that I see every man and woman, for that matter, sitting with right now. And so that's why it's so great to find your tribe and commit to doing this inner work that is the key to everything we've ever wanted. And the only thing that upsets me, because I don't claim to be Mr. I have it all together. My life's all, I got it all figured out, you know. I've studied with amazing teachers. I wrote it, who cares? You know, there's always a next level. And again, our vulnerability and willing to go, I don't know what the next step is. But I know when I show up and I align myself with somebody that's going to mirror me and hold safe space for me, that's when everything shifts, because I'm the creator of that. And we can't see our blind spots so much of the time, no matter how much work we've done. And so, yeah, it's just where it is, you know, right now. And it's very clear that there's 8 billion people on the planet for a reason. You know, our journeys would be totally different if it's just us sitting in a vast universe with nobody to mirror us or reflect us anything. You know, I could try that for a while, because I know that I'd either know it all, you know, there wouldn't be any of this programming first and foremost. So maybe that's where we're returning to have our party. But for me, I want to party with everybody. That's way more fun than being on a solitary journey, you know, and that's the gift of the one breaking up into all these millions and billions of different things: animals, insects, water, waterfalls, the sun, the moon, the stars, the grass, the breeze on our face. This is the gift that we all came in to experience. And yeah, it upsets me sometimes that it takes 20, 30, 40 years to begin to awaken, you know? And some people will not even have the conscious awareness to own their stuff, because they're so afraid this time around. They didn't get that support. So it's an absolute honor to just go, hey, we're here. We don't have it all figured out, but let's figure it out together, because that's what we're supposed to do. That's the invitation. So I'm just winging it too, brother. I'm just, when in doubt, drop into the heart, because the mind isn't going to be able to figure out what's the next brilliant thing to say that's going to, you know, fuck all that, if I may say that, you know? We're all here to just be vulnerable and be in our hearts. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So I don't know if there's any questions. that anybody wants to do. I reached out to Morgan to see if she wanted to come on and join us, and she's on another call. So we'll do that on another call, and we'll get some women to come in here and really open this up on another level, because I only have my perspective. I do work with a lot of women, but I can only speak from what I feel and what I experience. And to bring the divine feminine into this conversation is going to really open up some amazing stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully you can come back and join me for that. But what's on your mind for right now?
Right now, when we were talking about doing this, I kind of like, well, yeah, divine masculine. Just looking at those words, and I guess the word divine was coming up for me. I was like, well, what's that all about, And it's like, I was just kind of like, just sitting with that, and I kind of felt, well, yeah, there is. It seems that in order for us to step deeper into our authenticity and to return back into alignment, to an inner balance within ourselves of the masculine and feminine, that there does have to be this acknowledgement, recognition of something bigger than, and it's kind of like the divinity aspect, the sort of really sacred, whether you call it consciousness or God or great mystery or whatever you want to call it. It's like that it's just an acknowledgement and a recognition that this stuff that we're exploring is beyond ego, is beyond human, that there is something divine here going on. And unless there's, because that kind of brings a humility, and it just kind of puts everything into context and in perspective a little bit more, because I think when you lose touch with that stuff, that's possibly one of the reasons that man's kind of run riot a bit on the planet and got so lost. I'm really kind of into the Celtic mythology and the Celtic way of life and so on, and and what I know of it. I like the traditions and the cycles and the connections with the earth, the connections with the goddess, and so on, that reminds us that we are, it's also paradoxical, isn't it? I was going to say, that we're tiny and that we're insignificant, because we are, and yet we're immense and we're aspects of the divine at the same time, But it just puts everything into some sort of order, really, and gives a place to so much, that of our place within the cycles, our place within the cosmos, our place within the reciprocal interconnectivity of life and so on, So I guess there's that aspect of, unless there's an openness and an acknowledgement and a recognition of that divine, sacred aspect of life, it feels to me as if we can only go so far, on our journey to, our individual journeys of healing, of alignment, of the balance of the masculine and feminine. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to say that, and that's coming up more and more for me. I'm just kind of, a lot of the time I just feel like I'm in a bit of altered state of consciousness, where everything's just seems to have got so soft and sort of dreamy, especially when I'm in nature. I just so need to be, on the hills. I have some Malvern Hills near me, and they just call to me, and I just need to be there. It's my church, it's my therapist, my lover, it's everything. And again, that puts things in context for me. I'm little me stood on this hill with the vast expanse of the sky above me and the clouds, and I see the sun doing its thing, and I see the moon doing her thing, and it just makes it all more sacred, and the more the sort of sacred aspect of life just drops in, the more it's like undoing a knot. It's like, so often we're like this tight knot, and that's sacred. aspect of it just seems to loosen everything and allow the undoing of the self, of the small self, and the unlearning and the letting go and the surrendering and all that stuff, which just seems to be so instrumental in, you know, in coming home, and, you know, coming home to the heart, coming back home to our bodies that, you know, we were taught to leave behind, and coming back, you know. And I think, you know, in order to be authentic, in order to really be in this place of, not that, you know, it was funny when I saw the title, you know, the Return of the Divine Masculine, here's Miguel Dean. It's like, oh no, that's just like, no, that's not what it's about. You know, I am not this, you know, sorted, finished package of, hey, you know, this is how you need to be, like Miguel Dean. I am so in the not knowing, and I am so not sorted, and I am so humbled, and so increasingly in awe of the divine feminine. You know, it's just kind of like want to bow down and just yeah, it's like, oh wow. I just, you know, I did a retreat a little while ago, a couple of years ago, where I fell in love with the land. It was a 3-day ceremony and fasting and so on, and kind of vision quest thing. And in that time, I fell in love with the land. I always had a love for the land, but it just went really deep. The Goddess Conference was a similar thing. I fell in love with the divine feminine in a way, it just went so deep into me. It had always been there. As I say, it's always been part of my story since my mother leaving, but it just went in so deep. And yeah, something really big happened there. Like, something really big and really beautiful happened there. And yeah, my mind wants to work it out, but it's kind of like, you know, my mind's like a chocolate fire guard. It's about as much, you know, it's no use at all at the moment. So just keep letting it go, you know, and let's see what life asks of me. But it's interesting times, and it is about stepping up, and it is about giving woman the opportunity to feel safe in the presence of the masculine, because it's a rare thing, you know. It's a rare thing, because we men, until we feel safe in ourselves, because I didn't feel safe until that experience, those 8 days and the work that was done with that amazing woman. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel like, no, I can hold space. I can really be there. I could really, you know, I'm rooted. I'm solid. I've got woman's back. I knew that wasn't true, you know. Deep down inside me, I knew that wasn't true. And until that time comes, that it's the only time that then you begin to really be in your power, I guess, you know, be in your power. And it's not like power as in a big ego power. It's a really soft, gentle kind of power. Yeah.
Beautiful share. I have like 3 things I'm going to try and remember from what you just said that tie in. Number 1, I want to go next time. And any women listening out there, we both want to go to any gathering that you ladies are having anywhere in the world and support this and dive in fully. So reach out. We can co-create.
Jeff, I've done quite a bit of sort of men's stuff and men's initiation stuff and men's groups and mixed groups, but I've never been to something that the women did, and it was like, wow, did they do it? Like, you know what I mean? Did they do it in style, and they do it in a beautiful, artistic, creative, flowing. It was just such a feast of the senses. It was so heart-based. It was like incredible privilege to be immersed in that space for those 6-7 days. It was like, it just totally blew me away, you know. Totally blew me away.
That gives me goosebumps. And to me, when you were describing that, to me, that feels like such a long-awaited homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
That we're longing for that. We're both longing for that on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So, a few words you said. First thing you said, which is so key, because I talked about It's not about becoming more.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I share in the groups with every guy. It's undoing. And you talked about undoing the knot. So the key word here that I feel is really powerful is we get to a point where we just have to surrender. Just have to surrender and go, fuck, maybe I don't know. I don't know, but I'm not going to push anymore. I'm not going to fight. And there's no use in trying to prove that I'm enough. And when we can finally do that in a safe environment, I see it happen all the time. There's this opening that gets created. There's this pain, sadness, and guilt and self-judgment that can just be released. And I see these guys, it could be a man or a woman, but I'm talking about the men that I work with. These guys look 10 years younger in 45 days. It's unbelievable. It's so rewarding. It's just amazing. So surrender, undoing the knot, and being willing to have the deeper conversations with women, especially in relationships, man. I work with couples, and the number one thing that happens, you can always tell when somebody's triggered, because the number one thing that happens is they raise their voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because the energy's inside, it got triggered, and now it wants to come out. But if it's coming out and being projected onto the other person, what's the other person going to feel? Attacked. Because the energy's so intense. Even if the other person doesn't mean to attack somebody, they're not grounding into their energy. So one of the things that I share is when you get triggered, that first key is stop and take a breath. Don't react, don't respond. Because now you're owning the energy, whereas most people want to project it because it's uncomfortable. What happens in this holographic universe, 3D mirror, whatever you want to call it, is you project it, it's going to come right back to you. We're just creating cycle after cycle. When we do what we've been discussing here, we sit with it and we go, ooh, that's uncomfortable. Wow, that feels like a million years of pain, sadness, guilt. But I'm willing to go into it because the way out is in. Mm-hmm. We've all tried as men to go around it, to go under it, to go above it, to drink it away, to smoke it away, to sex it away, to whatever. It doesn't work. Mm-mm. And the beauty of this whole thing is we begin to unravel that knot and clear it when we're just willing to sit with it and go, okay, I'm here. And as so beautifully described, I'm no longer going to run. There's nowhere else to go. You can run a marathon. You can run to the moon. You can run in your dreams. There is nowhere to run from you because you're it. So the invitation here is to come home. Come home. And when we do that, and we just admit, maybe I don't know how to do it. And I'm even ashamed of that because I feel like I'm supposed to know how. But nobody ever taught me how. I had to figure most of this out on my own. And thank God I decided to say, I found people that had it. And I'm like, will you teach me? Will you show me? I need some help. I need somewhere. I need to be surrounded by people where I feel safe to walk through this stuff that I've never felt safe to do. And this is where we talk about tribes. This is where you talk about being out on the hill. I spent the last 25 years of my life in California, which is heaven. But I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio in the Midwest. And I was blessed that outside our sliding glass door from our home, there was nothing but woods. And I was in there every day if I wasn't in school. And there's sacred healing there. It's our connection. It's our Mother Gaia. She supports us in everything. She's showering us with love in every moment. And to connect, take off our shoes, put our bare feet on the ground. You can't do that in a city of concrete. And it's interesting the way that cities and towns have been set up by people that maybe did not have our best interest in line, you know? And every time we go out and we get in nature, why are we drawn to all these incredible places? It's because it's Mother Earth's love and power. So that's why we're creating these power journeys where we go to the pyramids, where I've been 6 times with Miguel and other amazing Toltec teachers, Machu Picchu, Costa Rica, Mount Shasta, Glastonbury. There's an endless place of power sources where intention has been set for thousands and thousands of years, and that's why we're drawn to them, even if we don't know. But when we show up with like-minded people, and we lock in like you did in Glastonbury, especially when you've got a lot of that feminine energy as a man, you can't surround me with enough of that. I want to be in a woman sandwich portal of beauty. Maybe I didn't describe that as well as I could, but any of the women that know me know that I have nothing but the highest respect and honor for them, and I bow down, and I always will. And it's just so great to be immersed and surrounded in that. So just so glad to be able to do this conversation. This is the real, I mean, every show that I do brings forth something of conscious awareness and depth, and everybody that's been on is just, I'm in awe of the people that show up in my life as I show up more, and the level and the willingness of people that are willing to be vulnerable. And that's it. That's the journey. That's the joy. That's our playground. It brings me so much joy. That and music and art and nature. And then when we can combine all that together as a festival, you know, like you just experienced, we're home. We're home.
Yeah.
And that's the invitation moving forward. It always has been, but there's just been so much programming and misinformation. It's been 180 degrees the opposite. You hear me talk about that. When I figured out that most everything was 180 degrees of what I'd been taught, you know, I got rid of every single belief I had, except for 2. When Miguel asked me, don't believe anything I say, don't believe me, don't believe yourself, and any belief that you have remaining, be sure to question that too, because that could possibly be limiting this vast, infinite remembering. So the only 2 that I kept, and I'll finish with this, were I am a sovereign, divine, unlimited being. And I know that in my core. And the other belief, or law, whatever you want to call it, is love is the answer in every single case. And that doesn't mean allow somebody to abuse you. There's obviously boundaries. But we love the abuser. We forgive them. Because if we don't, we're holding a negative energy that's going to attract something else. So the keys are forgiveness, self-love, love of everyone else, and just being open and being willing to show up and say, here I am, my heart's open, and I don't know any more than what I think I know or what I've experienced or learned, and I'm open to share that from a heart and not be a projector. Not project onto anybody what I think they should do, be, say, or operate. You know, and just that feels like a really pure place to operate from. And it's working because that's how I navigate. And yeah, I get thrown off track and my stuff comes up, but I always return to that as home base now. And the magic that happens, as you know, on a daily, weekly basis right now is exponentially speeding up. And everybody can see it, and the people that join together and can see it and want to play together in that, we give other people the invitation and the safety to come in and join us too. So basically, I'm doing nothing more than paying it forward from all the people that have reflected and shared this with me. And then I'm remembering my own past information. I don't yet remember my past lifetimes. I've had people tell me about some past lifetimes. I was actually, I don't know if this is true, but I was actually murdered in my last lifetime for doing exactly what I'm doing right now. I was supposedly high up in the church, and I shared information with people to free them, and they didn't want it shared, and they slit my throat. And so, again, I don't know if that's true, but I will say that stepping into this role this time, I had a fear of speaking my truth. It's taken a lot of undoing, a lot, and walking through a lot of fear. And I don't know how many times that's happened. If we're infinite beings, and probably a lot of us that are kind of stepping outside the box now, cutting edge, we've probably been persecuted more times than not. You know, burned at the stake, and whatever. And I guess I'm glad I don't remember that. But you know, I'm here to show up, and this is the invitation. So I just so honor the way you show up. And from the time I met you, there was a connection there, you know. And I know that we both felt it, even if we both have different energies, experiences. Obviously, that's always going to be there. But I think we knew after you left Thailand that we would probably be connecting again. And I know neither one of us had an attachment to that, but I'm so glad that we stayed in touch. And you're definitely a brother that I love deeply, and I love the way you show up. And just for people that don't know, Miguel and I have had other talks like this where it's just he and I. And to have somebody like him where we can mirror and we can really go deep and go, fuck, this is coming up for me right now, you know? And, you know, and I do this as well, but I want to reflect to him because I'm speaking about him right now. He'll always preface it with like, Jeff, may I share something with you and you may not like it? And I love that because, yes, that's exactly what I want you to share with me, because I can't see what you're seeing. And this is what we get to do with every single person that reaches out to us or goes on a journey with us, that when we show up like that, it gives everybody safety to be who they are. And that's when things start unraveling of the knot very, very quickly. So it's beautiful, and it's an honor to get to spend time with you, brother. And I look forward to much more of this in the future. And you know, so I don't know if you want to finish with anything. What I would like to say before I turn it over to you, Miguel and I have talked about putting together a 6 or 8 week group to really go deeper into this. So I talked about the next group, which is going to be Waking Up in the Dream. And I asked if people were interested, and I've gotten over 30-something emails. The next group I'm going to do with Colin Joe Byrne is another freaking amazing, deep, amazing guy that I synchronistically got connected with. And for those of you that know, you know how amazing this man is. I've done 2 or 3 shows with him. But moving forward, it's coming up on the radar to, if we can find the time and it lines up synchronistically for Miguel and I to do a group. One with men, and then possibly, if we have the time, to do one with men and women and really move through this stuff. And I don't know that many. I know there's people out there that are doing this, but I don't know how many people in my radar, because I've been traveling a lot. So my radar is kind of Facebook and the different groups. So I'm just playing with that right now. So again, any women that want to reach out, co-create anything with either of us or each one of us individually, or any events, this is what we're doing, and this is what we're committed to. So the door is open, so please feel to reach out. And anybody that's interested in doing a group with us, please reach out private message us your email or something. We'll probably do a post, and then you can respond to that as well. But just while I'm here, I've learned that watering the seeds works. For a long time, I was afraid to share this because people would go, "You're just trying to sell us. You're just trying to sell your program." And that's really not true. We all need to survive. But however, if you think I'm selling you, you may want to look at your beliefs around that, because I certainly have them and had them, because I've had people sell me. And, you know, I think next week, my dear friend Matthew Patty's going to come back, and we're going to go into this whole money thing that we've all been freaking messed up with, and being spiritual and not being able to charge for your services, which are life-changing, as opposed to walking into a store, paying for food, paying your rent every month. There's just an endless amount of unraveling that we get to do. So I just wanted to shine a little light on that. And I'd like to turn it over to you, to any parting words, anything else you want to share before you go back to your, probably back to your bed this morning. But I don't know, when I get off these calls, I'm supercharged. So if I know you, you're probably going to go for a walk on the hill after this conversation and do what you do. But I'm just really grateful for you, brother.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, likewise. Yeah. I'm not sure whether I'm in between whether I'm going to go to bed or whether I'm going to go, oh yeah, this is an opportunity to see the dawn on the hill. So we'll see what happens. Parting words. Well, something that you were just saying right at the end there, about, about the money and stuff. What happened for me, interestingly, was that I've always had enough. I've been okay with money, but I've been aware that there's some issues. But what I found was that once I'd done that big piece of work happen, those 8 days, and really sort of started letting go of, what it seems to me is that, the more you let go of fear, the more love just rushes in. You just become a channel for love. You become a vessel for love. You return to your natural state. And so the more you return to that state, the money, abundance, friendships, connection, it all starts happening more. And that was just what happened. There's all this stuff about marketing. You need to get on this, and you need to be, spend so many hours on social media, and you need to, get it just right, and pitch it right, and have your USP, and have your elevator pitch, and all this stuff, all this external marketing. But I've always been crap at that stuff, and I've not really been interested in it. But what interests me is what I call inner marketing. If I believe that I'm worth it, and so on, and and I've become a clear vessel for life to work through me. What happened was, all of a sudden, all these contracts and all these clients start showing up in my life, and it's kind of like life is really full now. It's like it's beautiful, and I didn't do anything different, externally, but there is a lot more abundance has shown up in my life as a result of doing that work. So I just wanted to share that. And I guess, in conclusion, really, it increasingly seems to me that, the key to so much of this letting go of the suffering and pain that is on the earth, and the for the innocence, for the children, for the work for the generations to come, is this balancing of the masculine and feminine. It seems to be what so much of it all boils down to. And, and it's just hard to even get the language, because that makes it sound like it's two separate things. And I know there are polarities, but at the same time, increasingly, it just feels like it all weaves together. There is no separate. Somebody says, well, what are the feminine qualities? And it's kind of like, yeah, but they're all woven into the masculine one, masculine stuff, or it's kind of like, it's really hard to, language just seems increasingly clumsy. And for an author and a writer, and somebody who writes as much as I do and blogs as much on Facebook, it's like, it is a vehicle, but really, like, it's that thing of coming to the edge of the map. You come to this place where it's like words and language and stuff just don't seem to cut it anymore. It just seems so clumsy. But I think if we just set our intention around that, and keep looking inwards. Yeah, like as you alluded to, not looking outwards. You know, we look to inwards to healing the disconnect between our inner masculine and feminine, which in a way, you know, I guess it's like, well, what does that mean? For me, that means parenting to begin with. You know, how do I become the mother and the father to myself that I wished that I had had? And that in itself becomes a massive piece of the work of connection, of that, you know, weaving together and a more whole, beautiful masculine and feminine dance, you know, taking place within us. So yeah, you know, I want to. It's all unfolding perfectly. Sometimes it seems like you know, what's going on the planet and so on, but that's a you know, a macrocosm of my own little microcosmic story of I had to get lost in order to get found, and humanity, it would appear, has to get lost in order to get found. We have to, you know, we live in this polarity stuff. We need to know pain, we need to know suffering, so then to move away from it. You know, it's just where we seem to be in our evolution at the moment. So, you know, I'm not into positive and negative. I'm increasingly not into polarity, but just keep the faith, you know, focus, be aware of where your focusing is, and remember that there is a bigger picture. There are soul journeys, we are human beings, and we are angels, and we are souls. We are all this incredible mix. So keep the faith and remember that it's all unfolding perfectly. If you're going through challenges, they're gifts. There are gifts and there are opportunities in there. And, you know, sometimes it seems like, oh, this is all, planetary shift is all taking place so slowly, but that's just from our human years and kind of perspective. If you think about it, and, you know, that time is infinite, what is going on is just a little blink, a little blip, and, you know, all is well. All is well and all shall be well. It just sometimes doesn't feel like that because we're looking at it through the human lens and we're not seeing the big picture. So yeah, keep the faith. I just want to, you know, say it's all okay. It's all okay. Don't get bogged down in the detail. Just keep doing your work. Just keep looking inside and be gentle with yourself. Lots of love.
Beautiful share, brother. Beautiful share. I love you. Yeah, it's a huge part of the book. It was like when I just figured out everything that I resist that shows up in my life creates more resistance and more of that cyclical over and over. So when I figured out, you know, the 5 words that are in the book, always ask this question: what is the gift here? What is the gift here? Because your soul knows what is best for you for your next level. It's going to tap on the door with a finger so it doesn't roust you out of bed too heavily and shock you. And then if you don't answer the call, it's going to start to knock a little bit harder. And then if you don't listen to that, it's going to start to knock a little bit harder. And hopefully it doesn't have to kick down the door, but it certainly will if you're in enough resistance to not just go, okay, this is uncomfortable. I know there's a gift. That's probably one of the most powerful mantras ever. This is uncomfortable. What is the gift? Yeah. And then instead of being resistance, we start to look within and everything starts to shift. So it's an absolute pleasure to connect with you. I so look forward, if it happens, to taking a group of men and women on a freaking deep journey, because stuff just starts, as you know, starts to pop very quickly, and we all just start to heal this separate thing that's been going on for way too long. So it's a very exciting time, and I just feel very blessed, man, very blessed. So thank you very much. Thank you to everybody that showed up on this call, that shares these valuable Soulology transmissions with other people. It's just as powerful, especially to do the meditation. Even if you come on later, there is no such thing as time to join in that meditation, set your intention. And for everybody that's commented and supported, it's just such an incredible group of people. Thanks to Todd Medina, Morgan Lee, everybody that supports this. And just look forward to connecting with each and every one of you in whatever way that shows up. So Many blessings. Reach out if you feel inclined to either one of us. If you want some more information, if you're excited, if you'd like to invite us or co-create something, let's do it. This is what we're doing. This is the playground. Jump in. The water's fine. Thank you, brother. Have an incredible day, and I'll connect with you soon. Thank you so much for everything you bring to the table and the way you show up.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Go well. Go well.
Have an amazing day. Blessings, everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Cheers.